Good day guys, it's Ogai here, the Unknown, and today I want us to look at Friday and how it actually played out. There's a lot of things to learn from Friday, which is highly important. And guys, as I always say, never forget this. If you are coming to your charts and you don't know exactly what you are looking for at what time, that's simply gambling. You need to know exactly what you are looking for way before you even open your charts. It's highly important. And I will never be able to emphasize this importance enough. How do you do that? How do you achieve that? It's simple, guys. You need to have a process that you follow day in, day out. It doesn't mean that your process or your strategy is going to have a 100% win rate or a 90% win rate. No, even if it's just 60 or 70, okay, even if it's 50%, it's way too good, okay, because the best hedge fund managers in the world, the people you know, Paul Tudor Jones, Ray Dalio, all these big names, okay, they actually have 40 to 50% win rate. The only people who have 90, to be honest, and that's what most of you are looking for, the only people who have 90% win rate are your Instagram influencers. Those are the only people, honestly, who have a 90 to 100% win rate, okay? So you must know that it's not about winning every execution. No, it's about proper risk management and using a good risk reward ratio. Like Paul Tudor Jones, he wants, if he's risking $1, he wants to make $5. So you can see, even if you win one and lose roughly five, you're still at break even, okay? If you followed Bill Lipschutz, he said you must find a way to actually be profitable with a win rate of only 30%. So guys, this is highly important. It's highly important to know you're never gonna have a 90% win rate or a 100% win rate, okay? So I measure everything in terms of 10. If out of 10 you are winning 7 and you are losing 3, okay, and you have a risk reward minimum 1:2, this is the minimum we are willing to take, okay, you can see that you're gonna end up being highly profitable. For instance, let's just say, okay, sorry, I just want to explain this. Let's say out of 10 you actually have okay, you actually have 7, okay, and you have roughly 3, and the minimum you are willing to take, which is what we are willing to take, is 1:2, okay. So this simply means if your risk is this, okay, this is what you are risking to roughly make 2, okay, to make 2. You can see that even if you lose 3, the loss is only equals to 3, okay, it's equals to 3. However, the wins, because you won 7, you can calculate, this is actually equals to roughly 16, right? It's actually 14. This is 14, okay. So you can see out of 10 executions, the losses is 3, and then the wins is 4. It's actually 14. So if you minus 3 from 14, obviously how much is the gain? The gain is going to be roughly 11, okay, it's going to be 11. So now you multiply this by 10. If you take 10 executions, how much is this going to be? Obviously out of 10, still the win rate is going to be the same, and the losses are going to be the same, okay. So you can see that this is consistent growth. Some people don't understand consistent. They mistaken consistent with huge gains, maybe in a day. No, that's not consistent. Consistency is like repeating, rinse and repeating, doing the same thing over and over again. In simple terms, it's like it's doing the same thing each and every day, okay. The moment it appears, you actually execute, okay. Mark Douglas books have all of this information. So now we're gonna jump to our steps. As I said, you are coming few minutes before the session opens, and we already know that the session opens at 9:30 a.m. US time, okay, which if you are in South Africa, it's actually gonna be 15:30 p.m. and because of US daylight saving times, it's actually shifting to 16:30, okay, because there's gonna be a shift in times, okay, due to daylight saving time. You can just Google that, you'll understand that, okay. US adds an hour, so this is gonna change our times as well, okay. So it's okay, you come few minutes before the session opens. For me, I just come roughly 10 to 5 minutes before the session opens. And what do you do when you come? You actually ask yourself, what type of trend do you see? This is highly important, okay. How will you know, guys? There's a lot I've explained about these things, okay. However, if you go to page 3 of the playbook, you will realize that we have like 3 different kinds of trends, and each trend here has different kinds of trends. So you will find that we have over 9 different kind of trends, okay, over 12 different kind of trends, because this one will have its own kind of trends, this one will have its own kind of trends, and this one will have its own type of trends. And guys, I've explained this in details, okay, I've explained this in detail. Let's see. For example, I will look at this explosive. It has 2 types of trends under it. It's an explosive. This is one of the easiest one. As you can see here, where did I put that? Okay, the trend described above is called an explosive trend. These are very easy to spot because they have 2 or more lines on them, okay, 2 or 3, okay. You see, that's where they give you a trend, and then they creep, they move to another level, and then they give you another creep, and then eventually they explode. You don't want to do what? You don't want to go against this one. It's important, guys. It's important. I always say they are not always going to give these things, but when they do, okay, they present huge opportunities, okay. So it's all about being patient. Patience is virtue, okay. Nothing comes quick, nothing happens quick. It's all about patience, okay. So look here, it is crucial not to go against these explosive trends, as they can cause big damage. You can see I put everything here, and as if it's not enough, I also put it here more than 2 times, okay. These trends are very powerful and could cause big losses if you go against them. I repeat it here, it's crucial never to go against them, okay. And then as you can see downward, we have normal trends and stuff. We have different kind of trends, okay. We have different kind of trends. So it's important. This is the first thing you ask yourself. I've made a lot of videos about this. However, this is a playbook. I just summarized the entire thing, okay, the entire thing into a simple book that you can master over and over and over and over again, okay. However, look at this. That's the first step, right? Once you know that you are in this kind of a trend, you will know what to do, because I explained everything, how to do it, what you have to do if you get this kind of trends, okay. Okay, like not counter trending this the explosive one. And then step 2, it's important. You now need to identify who's trapped before the session begins. It's very important, okay, because you are coming few minutes before the session opens. Then you'll have this information. You will know what kind of trend you are in, and again, you will know who is trapped. And when I say who is trapped, let's go through this in simple terms, okay. We are gonna go through this together, okay. And I believe you're gonna understand this. Okay, this is yesterday. Now this side here is yesterday, this side here is today, okay. And now we will have a red dotted line. What does this represent? It actually represents something very significant. This is the closing price of yesterday. This is where prices closed yesterday. It's free indicator, which is in my description. You can just download it, okay. So now let's say, for instance, these are now prices. Yesterday maybe they did something crazy, they moved and moved, and all of a sudden they came and closed here. So this line here is gonna start from here where they closed yesterday. Remember, this is a significant level. We have 3 levels, okay. Let's say this is the low they reached yesterday, so we're gonna have roughly 3 levels. We're gonna have this one down here. Of course, I will put it as a black dotted line, and we're gonna have this one up here, which is again gonna be in a black dotted line too, to differentiate it from this opening price, okay. Let me go and show you straight on the charts, okay. You see, if this is yesterday, well, sorry guys, I want you to see this, okay. If this is yesterday, why, if you look here carefully, you will see that this is the high that was reached the previous day, hence denoted by this black dotted line, and this is the low that was reached the previous day, denoted here by this black dotted line. And here, this is where they closed, okay. If I zoom a little bit, you realize that this is where they closed. It's now denoted by what? It's denoted by the red dotted line, okay, exactly as I am drawing it. I want you to understand exactly what I'm drawing, okay. So that's why I'm going so easy, okay, also slow, okay. I know some of you have concern regarding the time. Some people want very short videos, but I rather prefer something people really understand. Okay, let's say the next day, what do they do? Let's say the next day they do something. And guys, this is a template of a perfect playbook setup, okay. We usually want them where they start by playing Asia, London, and then all the way, okay, to the New York session. Okay, now I need a beautiful box to denote what? To denote the this now denotes the US session, the New York session, right? This is New York, okay? This is New York. So what did we say? We said we are coming early. We are coming a few minutes before the session starts, okay? Preferably 10 or 5 minutes before, okay? Because you don't need to be seeing all these things. You're gonna mostly be emotional, and like you might be influenced to do something, so you don't need to act before the right time, okay? So let's say, okay, before the session starts, they do something like this, okay? So we are coming somewhere around okay, let me find something. Oh, okay, good, I'll just use this one, okay, and a different color of course. So let's say we are coming around this time here, okay? This is when we are coming to our charts. That's before the session opens. The session opens at the beginning of this black box here, okay? Okay, I believe you understand. Even if I go back, you will see that this is exactly what I'm showing you, okay? Exactly what I'm showing you. We are coming roughly somewhere here, 5 to 10 minutes before the session begins. As you can see, my session again is highlighted in pink. I don't know if this is pink. We are colorblind as men, okay? It's fine. Okay, so as you can see, this is the pink box. This is where the session starts. So for me, the session is gonna start around here, and if you look at the time exactly, it's saying 13:30. Why? Because my server time is behind in 2 hours, and there's nothing you can do about the server time, okay? We don't set it. We don't have that luxury. They set the server time for us, okay? So there's nothing we can do about that. So we are coming around here, and we want to do what? We want to identify trap volume before the session begins, okay? Before the session begins. So when we talk about trap volume, we simply mean who is at a loss when we are actually on our charts. Who is at a loss? Sorry, I'll come back to this in a moment. Who is at a loss when we are here? What does that mean? It's simple. Who is at negative? And if you really look at this, who is losing? Obviously everybody who went down, everybody who went down, and everybody who went down. These are the guys who are at a negative when we are actually coming to our chart. So you can see a perfect textbook template is the one like this, where they trap. This is perfect, okay? Hence why here I put this in green and the other ones in red. Green simply means you can proceed even without this, because some days you won't be able to identify this, okay? So you can still proceed even though you haven't been able to identify this. However, the red one simply means there are a prerequisite to go to the next step. You cannot get to this step unless step 2 has been fulfilled, okay? However, you can go to step 2 and even though step 1 has not been fulfilled. So now we go to the second step, and here I should have put news, okay? Because some days you have news during the session. You have to wait for the news. You can't guess the news, okay? Why? Because they are collected through surveys, so you won't be able to know what the outcomes are gonna be. So if there are news during the session, just wait for the news. Like for instance, I will say I think on Friday we had news. Was it on Thursday or Friday? I think we did have news. Yes. I think we had news around Friday or Thursday, but it's okay. I'll go to that in a moment, okay? So now we are coming to step 2. What happens on step 2? On step 2, you wait for the session to open, okay? Now we have identified, for instance, we now know that okay. We now know that, okay, these guys down here are the ones who are trapped, and I'm gonna use a red box to show this, okay? Okay, so we can just pull it through. We now know that the people inside this box, the people who went below the closing price, are the ones who are trapped when we are coming to the session. And of course we asked ourselves, are we in any form of a trend? Obviously we are not in any form of a trend. You can see there are no two trend lines at different levels. Let me just show you an example, okay? If we were to go to the charts and we were to zoom in, okay, this is Friday. This is what? This is Friday. You will see, guys, you will see that on Friday, okay, we had this line over here. 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touches. Yes, last week they gave a lot of these trends. And then we have this line over here, okay? We had this line over here, and then again we had a different line over here, of which they started taking off and going up. Yes, they came down later. I will explain that in a moment, okay? So you see, on Friday we did have a trend, okay? But in the example I'm just showing here, we do not have any trend, and we are not in any form of a trend because they are just playing here. You'll understand this when you study the trends. Okay, so now we go to the next step. We wait for the session to open. Okay, fine, the session has opened, provided on this day we are saying there are no news. Okay, we assume there are no news on this day. Okay, so there's a lot of information you have just before they open. There's a lot of information you have. So let's say, for instance, now we need the third step. Okay, we need to identify trap volume during the session. How do we identify this? We use patterns. Okay, patterns. I know there are people who say chart patterns don't work, but we are using patterns, and from here we are gonna be filling this form over here. You all I told you to send me an email. I'll send you this form. From the pattern we fill this box here. As you can see, this is step 3 here. However, on this one, yes, on this one again is step 3. So we go to the next step now. Let's go to this one. We want to see a chart pattern, right? At this point now, we don't have a chart pattern, right? Let's say they play out, they go up, okay, and then they give you something like this, and they give you something like this, and they give you something like this. Okay, this on its own shows what? This is a head and shoulder. Okay, this is a head and shoulder. However, it's not yet complete. You cannot make your decision. Okay, why? Because all our steps have not been met. So 1, yes, is met, we know. 2, yes, is met. 3 is met. Now we have to go to step 1 to step 4. Why? Because now all the steps above have been met. Okay, when we go to step 4, it says evidence. Now we need evidence. Okay, why? Because when they're building the pattern, they are gonna be tricky. Let me just show you an example here. Let me just give you a very short, a simple example. Let's say prices are going up and up. Okay, you won't know what's happening. They're just trending. Okay, and then at some point maybe they decide to do this. You don't even know what's happening to you. You see an uptrend, right? And then they do this. They do this again. What do you see? An uptrend. Okay, the moment they do this and they do this, now at least you can say, oh, I think they are doing something. Okay, so whenever they are building their pattern, they're gonna be sneaky. That's one thing I dislike about jumping into something you don't understand. Okay, that's why I'm saying you need to know exactly what you're looking for, because if you don't know what you're looking for, you're gonna get trapped in all this nonsense. Okay, let's proceed, guys. Let's proceed. Okay, let's say, okay, now you can see that, oh, this is what they've been doing. So what did we say? Identify trap volume during the session. Okay, you don't know who is trapped until they give you the final leg. So on this part here, they're gonna be sneaky, they're gonna be tricky. You won't even know what's happening. You'll only know what's happening when they have done this. Okay, so now we need an evidence. What is an evidence? An evidence is the biggest candle that breaks out here. Okay, like in the example we just gave, the evidence will be a super big candle that breaks out here. Okay, not just any candle, guys. It must be the biggest. Okay, it must be the biggest from the last leg. If you look here, the last leg is this one. They went up and they came down. So they will have like different candles in here. This one must be the super big one, and it must be convincing. When you see it, you must know that they are gone. Okay, like to give you a simple clue, there are many times when you see big candles and you know they are gone, but you are scared to enter because the candle is too big. That's something we are looking for. Okay, I believe if you have been on this industry for a while, you understand. There are days when you'll see them giving a big candle and inside you, you know they are gone, but you can't execute because you are scared that your stops are gonna be too big. But inside, you know, you are convinced that this is where they are gone. And what you think in your mind is like, oh, I just missed the move, I should have entered here. No, that's what we need. We need this big candle that shows now they are gone. Hence we call it what? Evidence. Okay, hence we call it what? Evidence. It's very important to understand it this way. It's evidence. Okay, fine. Let's say now we got the evidence. Okay, remember, guys, I'm showing you this example right here, right? And on this example here, we have a lot of information. First of all, we know that the people in this box are what? They are trapped. Okay, that's what we know. Okay, now they gave the evidence. Okay, and there's something very, very important. The evidence candle must be at the right time. When I say the right time, I think I'll have to explain this in a moment. Okay, let me just explain it now before we even run out of time. Okay, let's say I'm gonna move to here and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, let's say this is the watch, nothing fancy, just your watch. The clock, some of you have stopwatches, some of you have wall watches, whatever watch you have. Okay, our goal is to get an evidence candle as close as possible to the o'clock mark, or what, as close as possible to the half hour mark, which is simply half past. I don't know what you call it, but for us here in Africa, we call it half past. I believe we all call it half past. So we need an evidence candle that actually takes place where as close as possible to the half hour mark, or as close as possible to the o'clock mark. This is very important. I received a comment last time, and somebody was saying, but this is most like, he was talking about the entries, like, okay, this strategy, yes, yes, the strategy, yes, but the problem is like stop hands. I know, guys, patterns are associated with stop hands, but here there's a lot of factors that goes into our execution. We're not just saying, oh, we need to see a pattern, and we take the breakout. Yes, of course, there are many stop hands, but look at our approach. We are very careful and we look for such things. Okay, so we need it not just at any time. Do you know the importance of time? Do you understand the significance of time? They shift zones at a particular time. Remember, guys, there are many time frames, okay? But if you look carefully, the o'clock and the half past is where all these time frames meet. And when they are ready to shift the zones, they want to shift the zones when a person on an hourly time frame is trapped, when a person on a 30-minute time frame is trapped, when a person on a 5-minute time frame is trapped, when a person on a 15-minute time frame is trapped, and when a person on a 30-minute time frame is trapped. So that's why we use the times. It's very important to understand this, okay? So we only take an execution if it's between 50 and 10 past. Okay, this is nothing fancy, it's just the time. And I know people might not understand, but where does the time come in? Guys, these things are moved by an logarithm, okay? And the logarithm is coded to pay close attention to time. You just go and backtest. I always tell you, go and backtest. I've also given you free tools to backtest with in the description, okay? FX Blue, that is a free tool to backtest with. You will see that every time they shift the zones at a specific time or at a specific level, okay? But the times are highly important, okay? So guys, we only take if it's from 20 past to 22, okay? Okay, remember what we said. We need it to be as close as possible to the half hour mark or to the o'clock mark, okay? But we love them more when there are 5 minutes between the o'clock mark or the half hour mark. You see, if it happens anywhere in between 55 to o'clock, this is as close as possible to what? To, oh, sorry guys, okay, okay, as possible to the o'clock mark. And then again, if it happens at 25 to I'm inside now. Okay, I don't want to put these times inside the circle because it will be hard to delete. Okay guys, if it happens between 25 not 35, 25 and 35, okay, 25 and 35, now we know this is as close as possible to the half hour mark. It's only 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after. These are our favorable times. If the evidence candle is given anyway here, we don't take it, guys, okay? So you must understand that time is very important, okay? Time is as important as price action. Price, I repeat this, price is as important as time is as important as prices, okay? Price is as important as prices, okay? I know some people love indicators. I don't love much indicators. These are the only things I use, like these 3 levels and this and that. The rest is information that prices are generating for us. So now we know, okay, they've given the evidence, right? At the right time, okay? At the right time. Say for instance, they gave this evidence at the right time, we executed. But if you are going to be taking it down here like this, there's something important you have to remember. We have what? We have trapped, okay? We have what? We have trapped volume. Where? I put this in red, okay? This is important to understand. Very important to understand. We have trapped volume inside this box here. You see this red box? This is where we have what? We have trapped volume, okay? So yes, they are giving you an opportunity downwards, okay? One thing you should understand is that now they are taking you into trap volume, okay? So if now it depends on your target, okay? Why? Because there are 3 things that are going to happen. first they will come and return halfway before they can even release this, guys. Why? Because they've been using the entire day to trap. So sometimes you might take the execution here and then you end up being trapped, okay? Because most of the days they are not going to release this, guys. Remember, they just spent the entire day trapping this volume, so most likely they are not going to release them. If they bring you down, you might just end up trapped. Like for instance, okay, this is one possibility. I'm going to show you 3 possibilities. They might do something like this and come to the closing price, bounce, and now they start building what? Another pattern. If this happens, you should know that, okay, this is another pattern. It's a triangle. And if they give another evidence candle at the right time, you should be sure that they are gonna go up, and you are just trapped. Okay, you are trapped all together with these people who were trapped from the Asian session, London session. So this is the significance of understanding trap volume, because most of the days they will drive you into trap volume. You'll think this is the opportunity. You take your execution, you target the low of the day, you close your things, and you go out. And by surprise, by the time you come back, maybe tomorrow or the same day, you'll find that, oh, they've came and kicked you out. Why? Because you were so careless not to pay close attention to trapped guys. Okay, so this is important. This is one scenario where they will come and not release these guys, and most of the days this is the one which is going to be more common. Okay, however, some days they will do what? Some days they will come, okay, they will come down, stop hunt. In other words, if there's a lot of stops here, remember, only the insiders can see the amount here. They can see the orders here. You can see nothing, okay? You just see the front side, but there are those who are operating from behind the scenes. They see the other end, okay? They see all the orders. So if there's a lot here, more than their daily target, they will come and release these guys and then pattern reverse. This is the second scenario, right? The insignificance of understanding who is trapped. We are trying to avoid instances like this where we take execution thinking this is an opportunity and then you end up being trapped. I've heard a lot of people sending me emails, oh, but I took this one, it didn't work. When you look at it, oh, you took it into trap volume, which is why I would advise you to always, at the end of the day, journal. When you journal, you come back to the criteria and you compare them with your execution, okay? Then you will see if you made a mistake or if prices didn't play accordingly, okay? Before you even jump and say this is not working. I've realized that most people actually are lazy to put in the work. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to understand something. They just want to see things happening, take them, and then later they complain. And one thing I can say, most of the people viewing this, you start from the pattern because you don't want to identify trap volume. And when it works against you, you tend to complain, okay? Now, the third criteria scenario is where they will do something like this, maybe come and bounce on the closing price. Yes, most of the time they will bounce on the levels. Let's say they will come back and bounce on the closing price, right? And then what do? They continue down. Oh, sorry guys, this line is supposed to be red, okay? Because on my chart I keep it as red, okay? So some days they will do this, okay? Some days they will do this. So this is just a third scenario. However, you can't account for everything. You need to be safer. Why? Because I said I measure everything in terms of 10. How many times do they do this? If they do this 2 out of 10 times, then I'm not willing to build something on something like this, okay? Why? Because it only happens 8 out of 2 times. But if it happens 8 out of 2 times, maybe they come, they trap you and they reverse. I'm going to build something on something that happens more frequently, okay? Okay? Because honestly, you can't account for any possible thing, any possible scenario. No, you won't be able to account for that. So that's the significance, guys. I'm trying to be as slow as I can. That's the significance of understanding trap volume. If they're giving you an opportunity into trap volume, you need to be careful and need to be aware. So what I say like, if you are going to be targeting, let's say 50 points, okay, 50 points as your target, then you need to have at least 50. Between here, where they're giving you the evidence candle, to a point maybe here, you need to have at least 75, okay? 75. Why? Because if you have 75 between here to here, you know that, oh, even if they give you the first scenario, okay, where mostly they'll come to the closing price and bounce and reverse, your 50 will still be hit. So this simply means you'll have 50 between here and between here, because you simply have 75 between here and here, okay? So you need to be aware of these things, and you need to put yourself in a position where all the odds are in your favor. So let's say now they did this, and of course, oh sorry guys, I need to change the colors now. Let's say indeed they did this, okay, and now they went down to the closing price, they started bouncing on the closing price, and they started giving something like a Okay, let me reverse this. I want to give you a pattern you understand. Let's say now you understand trap volume, okay? And now they start building something like this, okay? When they build something like this, in your mind, you are careful and you know, okay? You know that, okay, there's a possibility for them to do this. You are already aware, okay? Okay, and now they build a triangle. And at the right time, remember we just spoke about the times. At the right time, they do this, okay? At the right time, they do what? They give you a huge breakout candle. Okay, this is the evidence. Why? Because this is a candle most people will see and think, ah, I missed it, I should have entered here. The moment you think like that, those who took it downwards, they are at negative immediately, instantly. And because it's the right time, usually that's when they shift what? The zones. And let's say now they're ready to shift the zones. The moment you enter, they're not going to play around because they've trapped these guys, they've trapped these guys, they've trapped these guys, and now they've trapped you who fell for the head and shoulder, okay? Okay, there are people who ignore. Trap volume before the session. Okay, guys, please cease from looking for simple things, okay? Don't wish things were easier. Just transform yourself to understand hard things. You know why? Because most people are not going to try to understand what's hard. People are going to deviate from things that seem to be hard and seek things that seems to be easy. Okay, so if something is easy, most people are there. If something is hard, less people are there. And we already know that with retail, guys, 95% of the people are on the losing side. They are experiencing heavy losses. Why? Because people are looking for easy things. Tell you, go and backtest 10 years of data. Nobody wants to backtest 10 years of data. Go and journal. Nobody wants to journal. But you want to come every day, find this pattern and take the patterns. You don't care if you are taking the patterns into travel. You don't care. You just want to take the pattern. Sometimes they are giving you a pattern into an explosive trend. But because you don't care about these things, you are taking it. And when it doesn't work, you tend to complain. So let's say they give you this. This is one of the simplest one. You know it's going to explode, okay? And this is this first point to get hit, okay? You know they are exploding once they have done this. Why? Gathered orders, they bring you down. They gathered orders during the New York session. What is left for them? To explode. Exactly. What's left for them? To explode. So this is the evidence candle. Once the evidence candle is met, you look at your watch, right time. Once it's met at the right time, you take your execution. And I've in my recent videos explained how you target, okay? I explained how you target on something like this. I explained how you target on something like this. So guys, I believe you understand these steps. Okay? So now we're going to go to what? We're going to go to our charts and we will be examining everything using this form here. Okay, first of all, what do we do? Oh, it's Friday. And unfortunately, I've already mentioned a lot of things as we were discussing here. Okay, I tried to explain the explosive one. So already on this day, which was on a Friday, you know you are in something that is explosive. You know you have an explosive. Okay, let's give me a minute. Okay, you know you are in an explosive trend. What did we say? Do not in any way go against this. But they ended up going down. Yes, they ended up going down. But most of the days they are not. And I want to show you the simplest things. You see, this is the S&P, okay? The S&P, explosive. What do they do? People, this is the beginning of the session. I'm just going to take this one out. Why? Because sorry, okay, let me just make sure this one can be removed. We are in an explosive. How do you identify an explosive? Obviously, I just mentioned this to you. Okay, it's called an explosive. These are the very easy to spot because they have two or more trend lines on them. You see, they have two or more. If you come straight to here, you realize that we had three. 3 is equals to 2 or more. You see, at different levels. First here, second here, third here. This is something that is exploding. So first of all, before the session even opens, you already know who is actually, you already know the trend you have, okay? And in this case, they send people down, yes, once, and then yes, again, they send people down. So people below the closing price are trapped, okay? That's something you also know. Who is trapped? These are the two things you do. People down below the closing price, let's just use the closing price. People below the closing price are trapped. Why? Because they send people here. You can see London, Asia. They send people down, went up, sent them down, went up, sent them down. You know, people are chasing prices. And when we come here, who is losing? Obviously, the people below the closing price are losing. Okay. And now we want to see a chart pattern. Okay. We want to see a chart pattern. What did they do? Okay. I told you not to enter these kind of things, the explosive trends, until you have mastered the pattern and stuff. However, still on the book, I explained how to enter this kind of execution. Okay. It shows 2 or more trend lines at different levels and eventually bounces off the recent high before shooting up. Okay. I did explain how you enter on this kind of trend lines. You can enter the trade when prices bounce off the previous low and move away with a strong engulfing candle. Okay, I did explain these things. I did. Unfortunately, this was the first candle and we don't take the first candles. Okay, but I did explain how you enter into this. But for now, I told you use the patterns. Why? Because you have to master one thing at a time. Okay, so use the patterns. Okay, so yes, of course, as explained in the playbook, they did exactly that. They shot up and exploded. If you count the number of pips they exploded when the session begins, it's almost 300 explosion. Okay, so this one I didn't feel comfortable doing what? Chasing it. Okay, you don't chase it until they break you don't take it until they break the explosive trend. As you can see here, it's broken, and even the second line here is broken. Okay, so you don't counter trend explosive trends until they've broken down. Okay, until they've broken out of them. The moment they break out of them, now they show you this is safe to go. But for now, I'm not going to be focusing on that. I'll be focusing on the patterns, which is very important. So this one went up and up and up, and at this point here, remember it's Friday. I don't like counter trending Friday moves. Okay, yes, they gave you something which is not a clean trend. Okay, this is not a clean trend, but beside, I wasn't gonna sell this one. Why? Because it's an explosive trend. Remember, they gave it on Thursday. They gave it on, was it on Wednesday? They gave this on when? I don't remember. Yes, here it's still there. You see, they gave this thing explosive. They gave it on the 23rd, same week. They gave 2 explosive. And you see what they did? They literally exploded. This is why I tell you, you don't counter trend these ones, because most of the time, if you counter trend them, they are going to be falling heavily. These ones fall heavily. They bounce on the last one, give you an engulfing candle, you take it. But for now, we are focusing on the patterns, okay? I just wanted to show you how these things work, because on Friday, they gave explosive trends. Okay, don't worry guys, I'm gonna show you a beautiful execution where we use the patterns. So on this one, it was a big no. I was only waiting for a continuation pattern. I wasn't looking for any sell. Well, up until they've broken it, and this is where they broke the second line. This is evidence that now the explosive is like violated. Okay, but you must be aware of that. The same thing happened on the NAS, but this is what I want to tell people. You see, NAS gave an explosive trend. Okay, NAS gave an explosive trend, and guys, this is so important. This is so important, and I know most people tend to ignore this. This is so important. You see, NAS never violated it. Again, it gave more than 3 on different levels. Okay, when I say different levels, I simply mean you have your line, and if you pull it through, obviously it won't make sense. This line no longer becomes a touch here. Okay, it no longer suffices to be a touch here. That's where you put your second line. Doesn't matter. Sometimes it will be at the last point where the low line touched. Okay, we draw our line, and then in this case they gave us a third line. Okay, and what did they do? Friday, they exploded immediately. Okay, I know some people were looking for patterns here. I know there are people who were looking for a pattern here, and this looked like, okay, this is a beautiful triangle, and I did say 90% of my executions are triangles. Okay, and some people saw this as the evidence candle. Okay, but it was hardly a breakout. We need a big breakout. But if you saw this as an evidence candle, guys, it didn't work out. They came in close to you. You know why? because you are in an explosive trend. You don't counter trend this. Hence, I'm telling you, sometimes, yes, they will actually go down and violate them, but you need something you understand and you need something you know. At this point here, if you thought this was the evidence, for me it wasn't. I need a big candle that now shift the zones immediately to know that this guys here who went up are trapped. But again, on Friday, I wasn't going to counter trend. Despite what kind of candle they give, I wasn't gonna counter trend. Why? Because this was an explosive one. And then of course, that's why you see it didn't even work if you took this one. And they really didn't even go anywhere. They just fell, but they never even went to the high of the previous day. As you can see, this one didn't play out, but yes, of course, S&P did break out and go below and even go to a negative. But if you look at the NAS, they didn't. Why? Because we were on an explosive trend. However, if we look at the Dow, I want to show you something different. The Dow also gave an explosive trend. How do you identify an explosive trend? 2 or more trend lines. So this one gave 1 and it gave 2. So we had 2 on the Dow, okay? However, I bring a however. However, they violated it whilst there was still time. The moment they violated, now you know it's no longer valid, okay? The moment they violated, you know it's no longer valid. The moment they violated, you now it's no longer valid, okay? So, unfortunately, okay, let's see here. Unfortunately, for this pattern, you needed more experience to understand this pattern, okay? You needed more experience. But you can see at this point here, because I know there are people who saw a triangle here. And it did work, this triangle. But it's not about it working. It's about probability. How much of high probability is it, okay? This one was still inside the explosive. So I don't enter things like this because it's still inside the explosive. What time is it? The times were so wrong again, okay? So roughly, the time you knew that they are going is when they've violated this line. The moment they violate the explosive trend, that's when you know, oh, the explosive trend is no longer applicable. But don't counter trade it until it is broken. So you see, yes, of course, this was a rectangle, not perfect. Sometimes they're not going to give you a perfect pattern that you need, okay? And for a pattern to be perfect, it needs roughly three touches. Okay, I told you I'll count a touch if it goes beyond the halfway. Okay, where's the halfway? This is like the halfway. Okay, so 1 touch down, 1 touch up. They go all the way. Yes, enough to send people up. They come down. Okay, touch, they go up and make a touch. They come down. They send people up. So this wasn't a perfect rectangle. Okay, however, if you are experienced and you have been backtesting this enough and you have been journaling this enough, you'll understand that this was a rectangle and it was confirmed by what? By the evidence candle. I always say sometimes you will doubt a pattern because it's not perfect. However, when the evidence candle shows up, it will take away all the doubts because the evidence must be the very big candle that shift the zones. The most important thing here is shifting the zones. Okay, I know, yes, I advise taking patterns that are perfect. Okay, this one is what? A rectangle, right? Rectangle, okay? Is it perfect? For patterns to be perfect, I need 3 touches up and 3 touches down. And when you look at this one, it is a rectangle, not that perfect, okay? Because we do have a touch up here. We do have a touch up here. We do have a touch down here. And then, okay, this for some people they didn't count this. Okay, they didn't count this. It's still okay. And then we have a touch here. So this means this pattern wasn't super perfect for many people. Why? Because it had 2 touches down, 2 touches down. So the answer is this pattern perfect? No. If it's not perfect, you can skip it. Okay, I always advise skipping it up until the time you've back tested enough to understand patterns that are not perfect, but patterns that are going. Because sometimes the most important thing will be the evidence candle. Not sometimes, always actually. The evidence candle will be the most, this is the most important thing that will help you understand that now they're shifting the zones. You see how big this candle is? Look at how small candles they were giving, okay? You see this candle is too big. Let's look at its time. When we look at the time, it's 4 past. You see, this one had already violated the explosive trend. Okay, they broke the explosive trend. Okay, they broke it, came down, retested it, then came down again. This shows that the explosive has been violated. It is no longer applicable. You don't counter trend an explosive unless it is violated. That is very, very important, because if you violate it before it's broken, then what happened on Wednesday could repeat itself. Most of the time, explosive trends are those that go the entire day and they never come down. Okay, so this one was not perfect. Okay, but this evidence candle cleared all the doubts. So again, if we were to come here, the pattern, okay, no, it was not perfect. Okay, so mostly I'll say stop here. Okay, even now I'm saying stop here, because if you are still learning, you need to stop here. If it's not perfect, don't take things that are not perfect. It's not about Friday only. Okay, there's still Monday, there's still Tuesday, there's still thousands and thousands and thousands of days coming. Okay, so it doesn't matter how Friday played out. It doesn't matter. If the pattern is not perfect, don't take it. There's still thousands of days for you to take. Okay, that's what I advise. Okay, that's what I've advised. But if you have back tested sufficiently, and you know, I always say this, the evidence candle will be what you need to clear all the doubts, but only for people who now have the experience. As I'm telling you, most people are lazy to understand these things. They don't want to backtest. They just want to come and execute these things. You need to first understand. If you have backtested 5 to 10 years of data, you will know that there are patterns some days that are not perfect. However, the evidence candle. But for now, I don't want you to take this unless you have backtested roughly 10 or 15 or even more years of data, because by then I believe your confidence will be solid and you will know all the things that you have backtested. Okay, so this one actually was a good one, and it ended up just exploding down and down and down and down and down. So let's see how much time. It was more than an hour, so this tells you can target 100 pips for those who have backtested, who understand the patterns that are not perfect. Okay, yes, I told you focus on the ones that have 3 touches up, 3 touches down. These are the ones that are not going to confuse you. They are going to help you master everything. But as you are backtesting, you'll become more comfortable with patterns that are not too perfect, more comfortable with those that are not too perfect, more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable. And the more you become comfortable and understanding them, the easier they are going to become for you. So the pattern time was above 1 hour. Okay, I will say this for those who have backtested enough. So this tells you can target 100. Okay, did we have an evidence candle? Yes. Was the time perfect? It was 04. Okay, yes, the time was so perfect. So Friday also played out very perfect, and as if that's not enough, they retested. I told you, don't see a retest as a threat, because most of the time they're not gonna close the evidence candle, because already they have trapped. Guys, remember, people went up, they went up again. Okay, they went up, they came down. People went up, they came down, and then they closed. Those maybe who sold here, okay, and those who bought here felt like very comfortable. All prices are going up again, because you know mostly will put their stops here. They went up, but yes, because this is the level they decided on the day, we are not going above, or we are not going beyond. As I tell you, if you don't know what's happening, you'll only realize once you're trapped. And once you're trapped, there's no going back. Once you're trapped, that's when you realize that, oh, they are not going below, they are not actually going beyond this level. And because you are trapped, there's nothing you will do. You'll be relying on hope, because there are spreads. Sometimes you take this big candle here, your orders got fulfilled here, depending on the kind of broker you are using. Some of them have like crazy spreads, right? So if your order got fulfilled up here, you know you're at a negative, and then they are not coming to you, because they are showing you clearly when the pattern is built up, they're simply telling you we are not going beyond this level. Okay, so if you are wrong, don't rely on hope, just close it. Okay, you see, they come, send people up and up, they come down again. The last time they sent people down was here. I mean, the last time they sent people up was here. You see, they give a pin, big candle, and they send people up. There are people who still believe this move is going up. Okay, but what do? Last push, it's over. So I told you, because they have many people trapped up here, because every push they push people up, there are orders that got fulfilled here all the way here. So this whole box has a lot of orders, and you need to know that most people don't even use stops. Okay, don't even use stops. So there's a lot of orders populated inside this box. That's one thing I can tell you. Okay, once you understand that, you will not be scared of executing this kind of things. Why? Because you understand that there's a lot of orders. People were sent into the wrong way. And we know that 90% of richer guys are actually going to be in losses, okay? So there's a lot of orders, buy orders that got fulfilled inside this box. That's why I'm saying sometimes the pattern will not be too perfect, but this candle, the evidence candle, will actually confirm it. That's why I call it evidence. It's showing you that, all of you who went into the wrong direction, you are trapped. And the moment you realize this, don't wait for them to dig deeper into your account. Just close it. It doesn't matter. Even if it's at a small loss or big loss, it doesn't matter, okay? And don't see pullbacks as a threat. See them as an opportunity, because now they pull back and they give you another big candle. This candle engulfs all these candles that made the retest. And eventually, you have 2 entries here. So if you're targeting 100 with 2 entries, you don't need this entire move. This is what I always tell people. People think it's about the big move. It's not about this move. How much was it? From the first entry, this was roughly 400. You don't need this thing, okay? You don't need the entire move, okay? Only 100 is enough. 100 from this one, 100 from this one, you are done for the day. Why? Because it's not every day where they will give you 400, okay? It's not every day when they'll give you 400. Sometimes they'll go 100, 120, then reverse and come and consolidate and close here. But we know already that Fridays tend to go into one direction. So this one was so obvious and clear if you understand the patterns, okay? I think the video is too long. I don't have to explain patterns. But if I had enough time, I was going to tell you something fascinating or something important, okay? So, you know, you have all these things. You have all these things, guys. You have all these things. You have the trends. I explained this trend. You see, okay, the trend we got is this one. You see, they do this line. Do this line. Sometimes they would come and do this here. But this is telling you that they are exploding. The move that's coming from this, it's going to be a super, super big move. And it presents a lot of opportunities. But for now, I don't want you to master how to enter into this one. You will once you have mastered the patterns, okay? So give yourself time. Follow one thing. Maybe for a year or two until you understand it as you understand your mobile device. And that's when you can start learning something else, okay? It doesn't mean you're going to win all your executions, okay? As you can see on Friday, yes, they gave this, but at the end, they violated it, okay? It's not always going to be as you want it to be. But as I said, if 8 out of 10 times they play out well, the moment they give this, I'm in for that, okay? So guys, just to understand patterns, I think people don't appreciate the value of patterns enough. And I don't think people understand what patterns are, okay? Let me just take this 4 minutes actually to explain the significance of a pattern. You see, when they do something like this, they do like this, they do like this. Do you know what they're doing? Yes, of course, they can bring a pin, close with a pin, come back and do maybe something like this. Do you know what's happening when they're doing this? Do you have any idea what's happening when they do this? Why do they always break out of this with the right candle at the right time? I told you, times are significant. They shift zones at a particular time. And that's when most of this candle closes. Let's go back to our example. This is 4 past. So 8 o'clock, that's when the 30 minutes, the 1 minute 10 candle close, the 5 minute close, the 50 minute close, the 30 minute close. Okay, the 1 hour close, the 4 hour close. You see, that's when most of this candle closes. And if they have trapped somebody on a bigger time frame, it's easy for them to trap somebody on a smaller time frame. So they need to make sure everything aligns. Remember, charts are fractional, okay? They need to make sure that everything aligns and everybody is trapped. Even people from bigger time frames, they are trapped in whatever they see, because a pattern like this on a 1 minute can look like a railroad track on a 5 minute, okay? If we were to switch to a 5 minute, you will see what I'm actually talking about, okay? Okay, let's, unfortunate, okay. But you see, this was, it was something like a shoulder, head, shoulder. You see, on a 5 minutes, they gave a head and shoulder. You see this pin? Yes, it's a pin, but here are the bodies. Shoulder, head, they come down and bounce on this line, shoulder, okay? As you can see, or you can take it from here because the bodies are higher than this one. Shoulder, head, shoulder on a 5 minutes. When you go to a 15-minute time frame, so this simply tells you that they've trapped people from different kind of time frames. And this is what I want you to understand. And this also answers the person who said, what about stop hands? What about stop hands? It's not about stop hands. We understand stop hands and we are actually aware of that. You see, here they give you a pin this is a strong combination where they give a big candle, doji, engulfing candle. This is a strong combination, okay? But something like a double top, okay? If you go to a 30-minute candle, again, guys, you're going to see something different, okay? You see pin, engulf. You see, if you go to a 1 hour time frame, oh, sorry for this, 1 hour time frame, you're still going to see, you see, pin, two pins. That's why I'm telling you, it's not about the stop hunt, okay? We have accounted for all these things. So on different time levels, on different time frames, you're going to see different things. And once you understand that, that's where you'll appreciate the significance of time, the significance of these patterns, okay? So at this point here, you saw, guys, you saw what I've just showed you. If you didn't see, let me repeat it again, okay? On a 1 hour time frame, everybody who went up is trapped. So, okay, when they gave this pattern on a 1 minute time frame, it means even the people on a 1 hour time frame are trapped. Obviously, yes, they are trapped. When we go to a 30-minute time frame, okay, let's go back. The video is becoming too long, guys. I don't want it to be like this. But anyway, anyhow, it's not about that. It's okay. You see, a person on a 30-minute time frame is trapped. Okay, we go to a 15-minute time frame again. I just showed you, I'm just repeating. You see, go up. 15 minutes, they are trapped. Remember, here are our entries on a 5-minute time frame. You see, but the reason we don't use our 5-minute time frame is because this is where you get the entry. And by the way, we are already maybe in multiple entries here, and we are almost close to taking our TP. You see, not only that, it happened at a level. I told you, if something is happening at a level, for me, it's an A+ setup, okay? Because I love things that happen at a level. You see, even people, you see, anybody who chased this pin, people don't understand pins. Pins are not just birthed out of nothing. They give you a huge candle going out, which eventually closes as a pin. So this is something, if you understand, it's going to help you in the long run. Pins start as big candles going up. So you see, there are many people who chase this. It's where? At the level. Guys, this is at the high. This is my A+ setup. This is my A+. This is what I consider to be an A+ setup. Patience. Patience. You see, even people on a 5-minute time frame are trapped. Okay? They are trapped. They are trapped on a 5-minute time frame. And where are their entries? You see? Okay, so mostly they'll enter here because now this is the biggest candle. But of course, we understood this. Okay, we understood this way too early. Okay, so it's not about the stop hunts. Yes, stop hunts are important, and I thank the person who introduced them, because this is a stop hunt. If you chase this candle, it was a super big candle going down, but I always tell you, wait for the candle to close, because you might be stop hunted. Okay, and I really thank the person who commented about stop hunts. Thank you. That's so true. Okay, most of the time they'll throw stop hunt. This is a stop hunt. It's a pin, but mostly on a 1-minute time frame. When they throw a stop hunt, what's going to happen? It's going to actually close. When there's 15 seconds left, they're going to close as a pin, and that's when you know there's a stop hunt. You see, guys? So you must understand the importance of time. The importance of time. When they shift the zone, everybody is trapped. Smaller time frame, bigger time frame, it doesn't matter. Everybody is trapped. Okay? So please understand these things. And guys, I really appreciate you. Okay? It's too longer than I anticipated, but guys, same thing every day, and you have all you need. This is the tick box you should use. Okay, and you can also I'll put this in the link. Okay, this one, the 5 steps you should follow. And guys, I wanted to talk about mistakes to avoid, but the video is too long. I'll talk about that in another video. Okay. And guys, or of course, you have all you need. In this book, I summarize the entire strategy. You have everything you need. Okay, so guys, I really appreciate you. Have a blessed night. Have a blessed Sunday. Tomorrow it's Monday. Have a blessed Monday and a blessed week to all of you. Thank you, guys.